Howdy, everybody. Uh, didn't think I'd come out of my hiatus just to talk about uh, Five Nights at Freddy's being in Dead by Daylight. Strange times we living in, 2020. Am I right? Anyways, uh, I noticed that there's this huge movement been going around to get in Springtrap into Dead by Daylight, uh, and the whole community is like super divided on this. I think it's like the most divided the community's ever been, and the community's usually divided on anything, so it's really astonishing to see this. So you're either for Springtrap or completely against Springtrap being in Dead by Daylight. Um, so I'm just gonna toss my 2 cents here. Um, whether he should be in the game, my own personal opinions, uh, my concerns about him being in the game, as well as when, if at all, we should expect to see him come to the game. So yeah. So do I personally think that Springtrap could fit into Dead by Daylight? Let me give you a little background on me, I guess. I used to be a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's since the first game came out, which I was about in like the 5th or 6th grade when it came out. And I only stopped being as into it when by the 4th game, kind of dropped out. I grew out of it, I guess. Thought the fan base was a bit cringy, and for kids, of course, as many other people believe it to be. Yeah, but I am very familiar with the lore. For those who don't know, Springtrap is the purple guy, and the purple guy is a serial killer who went and killed a bunch of kids and stuffed their bodies into animatronics suits, and he basically got away with it for a while until like the spirits of those kids came back, and so he like hid inside of the spring locked suit, right? And like I think it was like it had to do with moisture in the suit, which caused all the springs that held it together to snap and shred him apart from the inside, and he died shortly after, only to rot away inside of like I think a secret room in the back of a pizza shop or something like that. So yeah, that's definitely very dark, very I guess fits well within Dead by Daylight. That sounds like a typical killer that they would want in, or something they would even write themselves. Now, aesthetically, I wouldn't say he's the most scary killer, but then again, I don't personally think a lot of the killers in Dead by Daylight are particularly scary, except for maybe the Doctor and Pyramid Head. But I think he could still fit aesthetically wise. Out of like, if he had to put in a Five Nights at Freddy's character into Dead by Daylight, I think Springtrap would probably be the best option. He's definitely, all warped and distorted from, I guess, the years of being locked away inside the back room of the pizza shop. So yeah, I think he could, and if, the developers really want him to work in there, they could obviously remodel the texture and make it more, I guess, Dead by Daylight friendly, I guess. So I think it could still work if they really, really wanted to. Now, personally, do I want Springtrap in the game? I'm sort of on the middle here. There's only like one little thing that's like preventing me from being totally fine with him in the game. It's a small concern I have, but I'll discuss that a little bit later. So if he does get in the game, I'd at first be a little disappointed, because I would rather see like Jason or Pinhead in the game beforehand. But I'd just wait for the next big license they get, um, and move on with my day. I wouldn't be like visibly angry or like completely disappointed in the devs for adding Springtrap. Um, Now, if he never comes to the game, I wouldn't be sad at all. I'd be totally fine. Um, Springtrap's sort of like that, like bonus little character. It's like when you pitch this game to someone, you're like, you should totally get Dead by Daylight. It has, you know, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Leatherface, Ghostface, hell, even the Demogorgon from Stranger Things, and it also has Springtrap in there too, I guess. Uh, um, so yeah, but I trust the devs enough to make a decision that they believe would be best for the game. Whether it be for Springtrap to be in or not, it's at the end of the day, it's totally up to them. So yeah. So my only concern with Five Nights at Freddy's being in Dead by Daylight is the fan base it would bring to Dead by Daylight. Now, Five Nights at Freddy's is primarily a kids game. You can't change my mind any other way. It's a kids game. A lot of kids are super into it, and that's what everyone associates the game with. Granted, I'm more than sure that there are like mature people, adults, or whatever that are into Five Nights at Freddy's, but it's still like geared towards kids, I guess. I knew this when I was younger, that a lot of kids were into Five Nights at Freddy's as well as me, and when I stopped being as into it, I still was aware that a lot of kids were still into it, and I'm more than sure there's still plenty of kids that are into not Dead by Daylight, Five Nights at Freddy's. So, like, I'm just really worried that those kids could end up ruining the reputation of Dead by Daylight. It already has its own flaws, toxicity, game balance, questionable playing methods, like camping and stuff. So I don't think Dead by Daylight needs, kids to add on that list. I'm more than sure there's plenty of kids that actually play Dead by Daylight and are totally fine, but a sudden wave of kids could totally deter any potential new fan of joining. But then again, maybe the only way to solve this problem is if the devs release the Five Nights at Freddy's chapter, and then maybe another license after, like someone that everyone would want in the game, like maybe a Jason or Pennywise, like for the next chapter after the Five Nights at Freddy's. That way the little kids get what they wanted, and all the more mature and reasonable adults would be satisfied, that they got what they wanted to. And maybe by doing this, it'll bring in new players that will like counteract the wave of kids that comes with Dead by Daylight. I don't know, or maybe I'm just overthinking here, and that kids won't ruin Dead by Daylight. It's not like there's like a communication system on console. Anyways, I know there is on a PC, but there's no like audio, so you can't really tell. So I think, like I said, maybe you're just overreacting. Maybe Five Nights at Freddy's won't ruin or like completely like be as noticeable of an impact on the fan base. Now a lot of people are thinking that Chapter 17 is going to be Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm willing to bet a lot of money that it is not. Okay, Chapter 17 is, there's just so many like facts that, or like not facts, but like basic logic that would completely counteract the idea of Springtrap being in Chapter 17. Now, when Silent Hill came out, I'm more than sure they were already working on a chapter, and this whole trend to get Springtrap into the game didn't start until like about 2-ish weeks ago, as of the making of this video. Venom Xenomorph made a video to sign this petition to get him in, and and that's when it really blew up. But beforehand, there was like a lot of little, I guess, pockets within the community that wanted him in, but it wasn't as vocal as it is now. So like, and I also like highly doubt that Matthew Cote had the foresight, the future vision, the omnipotence to predict that Springtrap was gonna be the big thing that everyone wanted. And the main reason why a lot of people also think it's gonna be Springtrap is just because the game is coming out this month, and it just doesn't really make much sense to me. This kind of reminds me of when, like, a couple chapters back, a lot of people were thinking the chapter was going to be Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th was going to be in the game because it was going to be Friday the 13th when, like, around the next time they would announce, you know, the next DLC. And it was going to also be around the time when it's like their special anniversary for one of them. I don't know, maybe like, I don't know which anniversary, but it was significant enough that people thought that that would be it. But a lot of people forgot, you know, using basic you know, knowledge that, you know, Jason was under the lawsuit, so he couldn't be in the game at that moment. Anyways, now if Springtrap isn't chapter 17, then a lot of people are suggesting maybe it's chapter 18. And while it is definitely more likely, especially due to the fact that some data miners looked into the coding of the game and they found that chapter 18 is also most likely a licensed chapter very similar to chapter 17, I still highly doubt that that it would be chapter 18. Just cause you gotta also put into like consideration they are working on multiple chapters at a time, right? And they probably already have a solid idea as of now, you know, before the release of even 17, what chapter 18 is gonna be like, right? Now, it doesn't mean it's impossible that it is chapter 18. Matter of fact, I even said myself, it could be possible, more likely to be chapter 18 than it is chapter 17, although still highly unlikely. Now, when could I expect to see him in the game? Now, I am personally, if he is going to be getting into the game, then I'd say wait till about next year, maybe in like the beginning, maybe like chapter 19 or maybe even chapter 20, because you also got to factor in negotiations with Matthew Cote, with Scott Kaufman, the guy who's in charge of Five Nights at Freddy's. So they got to work out a deal there first before anything. And another likely other like option we could see it is if they maybe would want to tie it in with the Five Nights at Freddy's movie coming out, but then we would have to wait about like maybe another like year or two to see that, and I think maybe by then the hype might have died down for him to be in the game. But you never know. They could really do anything. Now, also, just to bring back to chapter 17, I guess. I personally think that Candyman is going to be chapter 17. And there's just a lot of evidence to suggest him more out of anybody else than even Springtrap. And I personally kind of do hope it's Candyman. I like Candyman enough. Now, you may have your own personal opinions about him. But yeah, anyways, that's about all the, I guess, topics I really wanted to talk about with this. You know, if this video does well enough, maybe, I might even do another video talking about, licenses I personally would want to see. You know, this video got like, I don't know, like 20 likes or something. I don't see not expecting it to get that big. If you liked it, I guess leave a like. I don't know, don't really care about likes. But what I do care about more with this video, if you made it this far, is if you leave a comment. I really want to hear what y'all's opinion are with Springtrap being ended by daylight. I'm just really curious. So yeah, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to give this a listen. See ya.